Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome to the 2021 Emgage Gala, celebrating 15 years of Emgage. My name is Aisha Ahmed. I'm joining you live from Indiana, and it is my honor to MC for you all tonight. So what are we in for tonight? Let me tell you. We're planning and dreaming of a brighter future in 2022. We're making some noise on the issues that matter most to us. Fired up, ready to go. But most importantly, tonight, we're celebrating. Woo! Well, now that the confetti's clear, 15 years is a really big milestone, and we thank you all for joining us in this big occasion with us. But with any big milestone, it's so important to ground us in the moment and the journey that led us here to this moment. So to do this, I'd like to welcome our wonderful Imam Majid from the Adams Center of Virginia to lead us in a prayer and reflection to kick us off today. Assalamu alaikum, Imam Majid. Welcome.
Alaikum salam, Aisha. Thank you so much for inviting me to be with you. In this moment, we would like to first to start this prayer with gratitude. We thank God Almighty for gathering us today to celebrate the 15 years of Emgage, serving our community, engaging them in public service, have them to go out and vote and involve in the local community to make a difference in their locality. We thank God Almighty for the board, the staff, the volunteers, the donors who sustain this organization. Also, we're thankful to God Almighty to enable us to have overcome this pandemic. We know some of us have lost even loved one, that we pray that God Almighty bestowed the blessing and forgiveness upon them. And for anyone going through hardship and difficulty because of this pandemic, may God Almighty give them the comfort. Also, we are optimistic. We pray for God Almighty to have this coming year to be a year of success, where Emgage will do more for our community, we'll see more of our community serving our country in local levels, in national level. I pray to God Almighty to have this beautiful occasion be another milestone in the history of this organization, and have all of us as a community to work hard and harder to serve our community and to support our organization. May God Almighty bless all of you, protect you, inspire you. Ameen.
Ameen, Ameen. Thank you so much, Imam Majid. We're always so grateful to have you with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. So 15 years. Little did I know when I walked into this organization in the spring of 2017, I'd be in my basement in Indiana. I'm seeing this gala just a few years later. It's been such a wild ride, and I couldn't be more grateful. We've literally had dreams come true. We've also made mistakes, and we've learned along the way. But without that, you can't improve. You know the saying, practice makes perfect? No, practice helps build improvement. And that's what we're trying to do every day. We're trying to improve, we're trying to build better strategy, learn new tools, and build a future that welcomes all of us. Because too many of us know what that story is like of isolation and to feel like your voice isn't recognized. So I'm just so grateful that I walked into that lunch in 2017 with our CEO. That younger Aisha was hot off the campaign trail, and I had known what that experience was like working in the battleground state of Ohio. I was just one of 5 Muslim campaign staffers. But now I'm so lucky to have such an amazing team, and you'll get to see all of them rock and shine tonight, and all of the moments that have brought us to this occasion tonight. I would like to kick us off next with our CEO, Wael, but it seems like we're having some technical difficulties transitioning. But that's all right. What's a virtual gala without any of that? I think if I could share just one of my most amazing moments from this year was actually, we had the chance to travel to Cleveland, Ohio to work on the campaign for Bashir Jones, who is running for mayor. A lot of folks have some questions as to why that sticks out to me, but truly seeing children smile as we had the chance to canvas and meet with the community, that smile drives me every day. The moments I don't want to get up, I will. And I couldn't do it without this amazing team by my side. But enough from me. I'd love to welcome back our CEO, the one and only Wael El-Zayat. How's it going?
It's going great. Can you guys hear me well?
We can hear you, we can see you, and we're so excited.
Well, salam alaikum, everyone. I hope you're having a great evening. Really, we're so blessed for you, for really this gathering here. We're so thankful for you taking the time to join us on a Sunday evening. I want to welcome you to Emgage's 15-year anniversary gala. It's so good to be with all of you, even though it's virtual. But I always love being with our staff, our volunteers, our board members, our supporters. And what a great journey this has been. What began as an idea in South Florida of educating the Muslim American voter about the political process and getting them engaged is now a national voter mobilization and issue advocacy movement with chapters in multiple states and partners across the country. As a nonpartisan organization, Emgage invests in turning out Muslim voters as the most important element of our power building. In 2020, we launched the historic Million Muslim Votes campaign, where we provided data and support to organizers across 14 states to turn out voters for the presidential elections. And we did it together by getting 1.2 million Muslims to vote in those states. We also engaged with candidates and elected officials to educate them about the issues that matter to our very diverse community, so they can better reflect our interests and values, but also our ideas and contributions. One of our top asks of then candidate Joe Biden was to end the Muslim ban and to drastically alter countering violent extremism programs, CVE, that have been so harmful to Muslims, Arabs, and other communities of color. And upon taking office, President Biden did just that. This year, we engaged Congress to protect voter rights, to counter hate crimes against the Muslim, Jewish, and also the Asian American community. We fought for criminal justice reform, combating white supremacy, and protecting human rights abroad. We are thrilled that the Biden administration has announced a diplomatic boycott of the Beijing Olympics. It is the beginning of what needs to happen to safeguard the rights and the dignity of over 2 million Muslim Uyghur in China. We do this engagement in a bipartisan manner and in coalitions, always in accordance with our principles and the community's interests. In 2022, Emgage will once again lead in mobilizing Muslim voters for the midterm elections, from passing legislation that is critical to our country and planet, to confirming the right personnel to serve in key government posts. The stakes remain so high. What we are doing at Emgage is building the civic and political infrastructure needed, not only to support actions today, but to be ready to seize the moment when the winds of change make historical progress possible. We don't know when that's going to happen, but we will be ready. And we cannot do it alone. We cannot do it without your support, the support of our donors, foundations, volunteers, and partners, and average citizens of America. But we also have allies, allies in government, allies that stand up for the inclusive and pluralistic democracy we all strive for. This is why I'm so thrilled to share the stage with one of those allies. Representative Andy Kim is a dear friend and a former State Department colleague who is the Democratic representative for New Jersey's 3rd Congressional District. Defeating a 2-term incumbent, Representative Kim is a rising star who serves with dignity and honor on multiple important committees, including the Armed Services Committee, Foreign Affairs Committee, Small Business Committee. He also served on the House Select Subcommittee on the Coronavirus Crisis. Representative Kim gained widespread media attention for a photograph of him cleaning up debris from the January 6th insurrection. He then donated the suit he was wearing to the Smithsonian Institute, and it's on exhibit now, along with other exhibits from the awful, awful day in American history. Son of Korean immigrants, Andy has experienced firsthand anti-Asian hate and discrimination that we have not experienced, perhaps as a country, since World War II. Andy is a tremendous champion and fighter for the average man and woman and for equality, fairness, and decency. If Andy is ready to join us, and I see him here, Andy, welcome to the Emgage Gala.
Thank you for having me. I'm really grateful to have the chance to be a part of this evening. So I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Thank you so much, Andy. You know, I always tell folks about our days in government. And the reason I do is because I was always struck by your vision, your tenacity, but also compassion. And we all saw that on display after January 6th. You know, I personally hate to revisit, you know, such difficult times, but you're a congressman, you're relatively new. Tell us a little bit on what you experienced and what made you do what you did that day or the day after.
Yeah, well, look, you know, YL, you and I, you know, as you said, you know, we've known each other for over a decade since you were there on my day one at the State Department and helped guide me through that. You know, you and I have been in some tough positions before and found ourselves in harm's way. But for me, you know, you never would imagine that that would happen at the United States Capitol. You know, never in my wildest dreams would I ever expect that I'd have to, you know, hide in a closet at the United States Capitol and try to wonder whether, you know, call my wife and tell her I'm okay, but I don't know what's about to happen. So it's just, you know, it was such a heartbreaking moment. And I remember when I was walking through the Capitol at night and I went into the rotunda and, you know, I hope many of you, if not all of you, have been to the rotunda. If not, let me know, come to the Capitol, I'll show you around. But it is, in my opinion, the most beautiful room in America. And to see the rotunda in disrepair with trash and debris everywhere was just really heartbreaking. So honestly, you know, it was the decision to just start cleaning up. It was very instinctual. It was not something that I planned to do. If I had, I probably would have brought gloves. So I just, you know, just wanted to do my best to make that room and that building as beautiful as it should be. And it was, again, just a very instinctual decision. I think about how it was my, you know, my immigrant mother that brought me to the Capitol for the very first time, brought me into the rotunda for the first time, and taught me to love that building and to love this country. So, you know, I really feel like a lot of it just goes back to, you know, my upbringing and the experience that I had as a son of immigrants, married to an immigrant.
You know, that's so, you know, heartbreaking, but also inspiring. You know, you mentioned being a son of immigrants. I am the son of immigrants. I myself am an immigrant. What does that mean to you serving in Congress, given what just happened, the rising animosity toward immigrants that we experienced in the previous administration that unfortunately seems to be continuing, the incredible increase in anti-Asian hate that we're witnessing right now? You know, obviously, you can't be feeling good about that, but with your background, what is it that you feel is needed in this moment in Congress by our leaders? And then separately, as allies, what can the Muslim community do in this moment for Asian Americans? So I really would love your thoughts on that.
Yeah, no, look, something that, you know, obviously I've had to, you know, live with and I think about often. You know, while you and I were at the State Department together, you know, I may have told you this while it was happening, but, you know, I remember receiving a letter one day at the State Department. I read it, and the letter said that I was banned from working on issues related to Korea because I was Korean American. because I share the last name of, I guess, an axis of evil dictator. And it just was something that, they had suspicions about me. And it just felt like, what that letter told me is that my government, my employer did not trust me 100%. And they didn't trust that if I was working on issues related to my ancestral homeland, they didn't know whether or not I would actually represent America. And that was just really heartbreaking. So, to have these experiences that I've had over my life, over my career, and to now be, I was only the second Korean American ever elected to Congress. But even though I'm a member of Congress now and I'm trying to pass legislation to address these issues about discrimination against the Asian American community, my 6-year-old little boy, who you may hear screaming in the background, he tells me heartbreaking stories about how, kids at school tease him and call him Chinese boy over and over again. And I worry about the trajectory too, is because, now we're seeing increased rhetoric about a global powers competition between the United States and China. And I feel a greater level of xenophobia and racism directed towards me and my family, to people of Asian descent. And I worry that as this competition grows stronger with China, that it's going to, again, unleash a even greater era of xenophobia. So, it's tough. And as a member of Congress, there's a lot that I can do, but this as well as I can. There's no single law that I can write that's going to rid the world of racism against Asian Americans, against Muslims, against others. So it really does reinforce to me the need for us to have a big coalition and to work together. That we should not only care, we shouldn't only care about hate and discrimination directed towards those that look like us. We have to be there for each other. And so, that's something that was really hit home over the last, year and a half. And that's what I hope to continue to do with Emgage and with others. We got to be there for each other.
That's so true regarding coalitions. And I will tell you that I've had a number of representatives of the Asian American community asking us, Muslim Americans, how to overcome some of these things that you have mentioned. We know a thing or two about being denied security clearance, being vetted or allowed to work on quote unquote sensitive issues. All of us, our backgrounds are extensively investigated, and in many times folks wait for a year or two to get their security clearance, and some never do. And as a condition, they're not allowed to work on particular issues. So there are definitely things that Muslim Americans and other communities have experienced. And I think there's a moment here of shared learning and coalition building and advocacy. We may have learned it the hard way, particularly post 9/11, but a lot of good came out of it in the sense that we built a lot of capacity and institutions to take care of ourselves. But I think it's definitely more than time now to reach out and support other communities. And I think this is one of those moments. As you look at next year, and obviously, we just saw the news about possibly the Build Back Better legislation stalling yet again. What would you consider to be the top priorities beyond, or maybe you want to discuss BBB if you want, heading into the next session?
Yeah, look, there's a lot that we are trying to get done. I saw the news as well about Build Back Better, and look, I'm not going to give up on it. There's still a lot that we need to be pushing forward on. I really do believe, and I hear it in my district every day, that people have a level of anxiety about the uncertainty in the world right now. It is so alarming, whether that's parents worried about what comes next for their kids, or the sheer number of folks. I was just out there yesterday, providing out some meals for the holidays, and to see this line backed up, half a mile down the road. Just so many people that are worried about where their next meal is going to come from. So there's a lot that we got to get done. So I don't even think about this even just through the lens of elections and politics. We are in a moment of crisis still. And I really do believe that the next 2 to 3 years will shape the next 2 to 3 decades of this country. So this is an inflection point. This is a moment where we understand we live in historic times. And now the question is, what are we going to do about it? What is our role going to be? So, I'm certainly trying to do everything that I can to try to move that needle forward. And I really hope that even as we go into an election year, that we're able to get things done, able to find some ways to address, the pandemic. Another issue I'm deeply working on is on the opioid crisis, which claimed the lives of over 100,000 people in the last year. I lose over a person a day in my congressional district to the opioid crisis. So there's a lot of different threats and challenges that we face that I know we got to work on together.
You and I had a discussion a few months ago, and you said something that really resonated with me. And I'm going to, not to put you on the spot, but maybe I am a little bit. I may have been frustrated by the lack of progress that we in the nonprofit world face. And at Emgage, we've had our shares of challenges and frustrations. And you said something about building the infrastructure for the future. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering if you can share what you told me a little bit with everyone here.
Yeah, well, look, for me, I think about it in two ways. The literal infrastructure of our future. And I think that this is so important to just get our country moving forward and thinking about what needs to happen so that America can continue to be the kind of leader in the world, something that can create good paying jobs, spur innovation and small business. So there's the literal infrastructure that's necessary. And when I live in a state where we got a D+ rating for our infrastructure, a C rating for clean water, that certainly doesn't make me feel good. But beyond that, I also talk about it in terms of a broader type of infrastructure, just in terms of getting people engaged. I often say this line that the opposite of democracy is apathy. It's if people just say, why bother? And what I worry about is I worry that we're dangerously close to that kind of moment. I think there's so many challenges out there. There's so much dysfunction in government that a lot of people I know are just saying, they're just tuning it out. They're just saying, I don't want to be anything a part of this. But that's dangerous. And at YL, when I was at State Department, I worked with someone there who had this line that I always think about, which says, you don't have good government unless you have good people working in government. So I think about that kind of infrastructure. I want an infrastructure of public servants. I want an infrastructure of people who are dedicated to serving this country, of having integrity, to talk to each other with respect and civility, and not be at a moment where everyone's at each other's throats, So when I think about this broader question in my job, it comes back to this one question, which is, how do we heal this country? How do we heal this country going forward? And some of it is about, rebuilding roads, bridges, tunnels, schools, hospitals, veteran organizations. But, a lot of it is also just, how do we try to address these deeper challenges that we face that really get at the heart of what's inside?
Very well said, and really speaks to your dedication as a public servant and love for country, irrespective of what seems to be the never-ending partisanship and divides, and even within, in some cases, within the parties themselves. Andy, before we say goodnight to you, I want to give you the floor for anything else you want to add. But really, we're so proud and thankful of you and for what you've done, and look forward to, you doing greater things, making us all proud, doing the right thing in government. I know you're in it for the right reasons. And really, our only request of you is look at the Muslim community as an ally. As you mentioned, the challenges we're facing require all of us, or as many of us, to come together in this moment. But I'll give you the floor for any final thoughts.
No, look, I just want to say thank you for letting me be a part of tonight, but also letting me be a part of this community. I think there's a lot that we need to work on together going forward. And what I always say is, no great change in this country ever comes unless you have champions working both inside and outside of government, working together for common cause. And I hope that you see in this relationship here a way for us to work together as champions, trying to fight for a better future for our kids and our grandkids. So thank you for letting me be a part of this, and I hope you have a really great night.
You too, Andy, and best of luck, and have a good night. And you may return to your family on a Sunday evening.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you so much. Representative Andy Kim. Aisha, back to you.
Thanks, Boz. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, Congressman Kim. Always an honor. So time flies when you're having fun, but 15 years doesn't fly by without a dedicated team either. We spell team with 15 at Emgage. Come check out the Emgage team in action. That makes our entire mission possible every day. Next video, check it out.
I'm really proud to be a part of Emgage, looking at the trajectory of this organization, where we were and where we are going, to see the growth. But the biggest thing that I love about Emgage is that we are the conveyor and the amplifier.
And we are the first and only national Muslim lobby group. And we advocate for issues that are important to your communities.
We focus on mobilizing Muslim voters across the country, on advocating on issues that are important to us as Muslims and as Americans.
Looking at the issues from a humanistic kind of standpoint and lens.
That's what this country owes me, and that's what I owe this country, is a better society for people in the future, for people not to experience that racism, that hate that I had to grow up with.
That actually is an example of success of years of continuing to have our community stay engaged in the political process.
We the people organize not only to send a message to our oppressors, but to empower you to do your job.
But I'm tired of having our most vulnerable citizens mistreated at the polls. I'm tired of our clerks telling us that we don't need translated ballots when half of our city's population comes from an immigrant background.
We didn't take shortcuts when we marched, and we don't deserve to be shorted in this legislation.
It's so important for our community to stay engaged in these cycles.
We don't really have an off year. When that comes to the Muslim ban, when it comes to the No Hate Act, the No Ban Act around international religious freedoms and human rights, that's the importance of the work that we're doing.
We're born in America. We came up with American values. Our every right that is guaranteed to every American, we grew up with that ingrained into us.
We are entitled to our representation, to have our needs addressed, and when they aren't, we are entitled to hold our officials accountable.
We are going to fight for our rights. We demand to be treated the same as everyone else in this country.
We're a small group, but we've seen some amazing change happen. And I hope it continues.
I love our staff, but they're so energetic.
How do you feel? These are the beautiful faces, beautiful souls that made it happen.
The key to stardom is the rest of the team. None of those things could have been possible without the wonderful support of a team.
When I call folks to ask for your financial support, it's because I want more folks like that. I want more of these people who we have right now, because it's work the community needs done in a professional way. That's important if we really want to move this community to the next level.
Hey, shout out to my MVP. I hope you guys, I have goosebumps. I don't know if you guys have, but I'm going to turn it over to one of our policy team members to take it from here. Hashim Sayed.
Thanks, Aisha. Hi, guys. My name is Hashim Sayed. I'm a policy analyst at Emgage. I just want to welcome our next speaker, Representative Tom Malinowski, who has been a tireless advocate for the Muslim American community since he was elected to Congress in 2018. He has dedicated his time in office to empowering minority communities, championing human rights here and abroad, and defending communities subjected to discrimination and oppression. Prior to becoming the representative for New Jersey's 7th District, Representative Malinowski served as a senior director on President Clinton's National Security Council, working to end conflicts around the world. He later joined the Obama administration as the Assistant Secretary of State for Democracy, Human Rights, and Labor, continuing the fight for global human rights, including in countries such as Sri Lanka, Russia, and North Korea. Representative Malinowski has championed several bills that Emgage has been advocating for over the last few years, including the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act, as well as Representative Judy Chu's No Ban Act. So thank you, Representative Malinowski, for all the work that you've been doing for our community, and we're so happy to have you here with us today.
Thank you so much. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Great. As you can hear in the background, I presume, I'm at the airport going through a classic American holiday travel nightmare day. So with canceled flights, and I'm grateful to you guys for bumping me back in the call so that I can spend at least a couple of minutes with you before I board my next and hopefully final flight. But it's always a great pleasure for me to spend time with you, beginning with my dear friend Wael, who was my colleague and partner in crime when I was at the State Department under the Obama administration, fighting for human rights causes all over the world, sometimes successfully, sometimes not successfully. But we always swung for the fences. We always tried to ensure that America was speaking in its truest voice and its best voice around the world. In the last year or so, we've had some successes on the Hill working with you guys. You mentioned a couple of them. The Uyghur Forced Labor Protection Act, which just passed and is being sent to the president's desk, on top of a lot of other legislative initiatives over the last year to ensure the United States is standing by oppressed communities, including Muslim communities around the world, the Rohingya Muslims in Burma, of course, trying to keep attention to the plight of the people of Kashmir and the Muslim minority in India. And of course, as you know, I have been a leader in Congress in trying to hold some of our allies in the Arab world accountable for human rights abuses, whether it's Saudi Arabia or Egypt or Bahrain or the United Arab Emirates or Libya. I have tried to be the strongest possible voice. This last week, as you know, we also passed in the House of Representatives a very important bill that is substantively important, but also was aimed to be a positive, constructive response to some of the anti-Muslim comments and threats that have been made against Muslim members of Congress. We passed legislation in the House to create a special envoy at the State Department to counter Islamophobia around the world. We had a very interesting debate in the House Foreign Affairs Committee on this bill. Interesting, at times disturbing. It seems like you cannot even mention the word Islamophobia in the Congress with at least some members bringing up the very Islamophobic stereotypes that we are trying to counter. But I was very, very passionate about that bill when we debated it in committee, and very happy that we passed it on the floor of the House. And I hope it gives you guys yet another cause to rally around as we look to the next legislative year. So that's been, that's been some progress. Where I think all of us share the same concern is when we look inward at what's happening within the United States. We need the United States to continue to set a decent example of tolerance and respect for human rights to every other country in the world. And right now, that example is under severe strain. We've felt it for the last 5 or 6 years. In election after election, it seems like we have to fight for the soul of the country, as Joe Biden said in 2020. And I know a lot of folks are frustrated that we haven't won the battle for the soul of the country yet. And I guess my message to you all is we will never win the battle for the soul of the country, because that is an endless, never-ending battle. And the fact that it's hard should not cause anybody to say, I'm tired. It should not cause anyone to say, I just can't take this anymore. I thought we settled this in the last election. Understand, we will never settle it. It's a constant struggle which hopefully will result in America becoming gradually better over the years, but never perfect. And so we're all going to, just as you all count on me to be a champion in the House, and I will continue to do everything I can. I'm going to count on all of you not to get tired, not to give up, to continue to fight to elect good people to public office who are going to take this country even one incremental step at a time forward. I'm so grateful to you all for starting this organization, for giving it the energy that it has, for supporting people like me, and really look forward to working with you on some good legislation next year. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much, Congressman, for your time. Thank you for your remarks. And I would just like to hand it back to Aisha.
Thank you so much, Hashim. Thank you so much, Congressman Malinowski, for your relentless conviction and always standing by our community in good times and maybe the not so good times. So next, we are going to switch to another little video, travel over to Michigan, because they've had an incredibly busy years leading up to 2021 and going into 2022. We have our Executive Director, Nada El-Hanoussi, to share more of what they've been up to.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Nada El-Hanoussi, and I'm the Executive Director of Emgage, Michigan. I've been with Emgage now for about 3.5 years. And when I first began in 2018, we had very limited capacity, and I was the only staff member. And now today, we have 3 staff members, and that's all thanks to you and your generous contributions. We had a very busy year this year. We first began with the Emerging Leaders Training, and then we had our 7-part Meet Your State Representative Training series. And then we quickly moved on to our virtual lobby day, where we had the governor, the Secretary of State, the Attorney General, and your state representative talk about the most pressing issues. But our work did not stop there. We quickly got involved with redistricting because we knew how important it is to keep our Muslim communities together. We were able to submit 3 maps and provide 14 public testimonies. But most importantly was our organizing work. We were able to get 20 organizers on the ground to knock 23,000 doors for Dearborn's first Muslim mayor, Abdullah Hamoud. First, I want to thank you, our generous donors, for all your support and your contribution that made our work possible. And I also want to give a huge thank you to our board for their support and always uplifting our team. Most importantly, a huge thank you for organizers who work day in, day out because they knew our community deserved better. Today I'm here to ask you for your help. Our work is not over. 2022 is around the corner, and we need to elect more people that truly represent our Muslim and minority communities, and we need to work together to create a Muslim community that is truly politically engaged. Today I ask you to give what you can so we can work together to make sure that we're all honestly represented. Thank you so much.
Ground for the Michigan primaries this year, and the energy for our now mayor-elect Abdullah Hamoud was electric, and not just because we had some really cool rental cars, but hear it yourself in this next video from our mayor-elect Abdullah Hamoud.
Good evening. This is Abdullah Hamoud, mayor-elect of the city of Dearborn. I want to begin by extending my gratitude and my thanks to Emgage. And a congratulations to Emgage for this last year. What you have been able to accomplish, not only in Michigan, but all throughout this country, is something very much noteworthy and worthy of celebration. This last year alone, Emgage was a strategic partner in my campaign to give back the city of Dearborn to a greater capacity in pursuing the office of the mayorship here in our hometown. And it was Emgage that had its fellows knocking doors day in and day out, knocking over 20,000 doors throughout this campaign cycle. And it's a team led by the amazing Nada El-Hanoussi, Michigan's executive director. And so to all of you, I say thank you. And know that you are instrumental in our victory. And know that you have a partner in me, not only during the campaign cycle, but certainly throughout the administration. You know, I first came across Emgage back in 2016 when I announced my bid to become Dearborn State Representative. And I was introduced to the various Emgage board members and founders and directors of the time. And I can honestly say they opened up their network, they opened up their hearts, they opened up their pocketbooks, and they took a chance on new faces. And that's something that we need, people who are willing to bet on the workhorse, willing to bet on a fresh face and a new name, knowing that it's in the best interest of the overall community. And so to Emgage, I thank you, I congratulate you, and I look forward to the partnership to come. Assalamu alaikum.
I still just can't get over that this is going to be the future mayor of Dearborn. So enough video, let's get back to talking, right? I'd like to introduce a true mover and shaker on the Emgage board, my sister Afshin Shamsi, who's going to lead us in the next panel. Also, today happens to be her birthday. So please join me in sharing a lot of love and welcoming her on virtual stage.
Thank you so much, Aisha, and I'm honored to celebrate my birthday with the Emgage family. So I'm truly honored tonight to moderate an incredible panel of American Muslim women. It's my distinct honor to introduce them. Judge Carolyn Walker Diallo is an American judge. She was the first Muslim elected as judge in the state of New York. In 2015, Judge Walker Diallo was elected to the New York City Civil Court, representing the 7th Municipal Court District, which encompasses Brownsville, Brooklyn, East New York, Cypress Hills, and Bushwick. Welcome, Judge Diallo. And also tonight joining us here is Representative Medina Wilson Anton. She is the first Muslim elected to Delaware State Legislature. She's an alumna of the University of Delaware and holds a bachelor's degree in international relations and Asian studies. She has formerly studied Arabic, Chinese, French, and Spanish. As a state representative, she is fighting for social, economic, and racial justice for all Delawareans. Thank you both for your incredible leadership of both the Muslim and the broader community. You're role models for us all. So my first question to both of you is, what inspired you to seek elected office?
Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for the question. In 2015, when I decided to run, there was a lot going on, as still there is a lot going on in this country. And the justice system is one of the most important components of our government, one of the three branches. It's important that we have a very independent and well-balanced judiciary to check the other two branches of government. And, I looked at my experience, but more importantly, I looked at my passion, my heart, and I decided that it was time for me to run. I didn't realize at the time how important it would be, for our community, but becoming the first Muslim judge in the state of New York was a battle that we fought very hard and we won on behalf of all people, but definitely our community. So why was it was time? There's never time to wait. If you have the experience, the passion, and what is needed to do the job, then do the job and do what you need to do. And that's what I did.
Thank you so much for serving us, for leading us, and it's truly inspiring that you chose to run. And you're right, it's never time to wait, it's time to act. And with that, I welcome Representative Medina. Please join us and share with us what motivated you to run and seek elected office.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, great. Thanks for having me. And as far as why I decided to run, I kind of will echo my sister in that I was frustrated with how I saw things unfolding in the community, but I knew that, instead of just complaining about those problems, I could do something about it. And so through the support of the community, I was able to win an election and support my community down in our state house, using my voice to create bills that change people's lives instead of just typing away on Facebook.
Well, thank you so much for taking action and for changing lives everywhere, particularly in Delaware. So my next question to both of you is, what are some of the challenges you faced as Muslim American women holding public office, and how have you overcome them? You're muted, yes.
I know, I'm always muted. Thank you. What are the challenges? I mean, when I ran in 2015 and I took my oath of office on the Quran, before I even took the bench, it was international news, death threats, all types of things. But, whatever it is that you do, you always have to remember your why. And I knew my why was strong enough. I knew what I was representing. So the challenge from day one, was just being a Muslim woman, especially wearing the hijab, just the visual for many people of a judge on the bench was a lot. But in the same vein, it brought hope and promise, especially in the city of New York, where we have a very diverse community. I think it was not only good for our community, but for others to see Muslim women in such a powerful light. How I, navigate the challenges is just to be a good jurist. You don't have to like me, but you will respect me. And part of that is, knowing the law, being balanced, being fair, being compassionate. And I think over the years, that has helped me to elevate myself, within the judiciary branch. Right now, I serve as the administrative judge of the civil court in the 5 boroughs of the city of New York. So I'm 6 years in, and, alhamdulillah, I'm moving up and moving up, but it's not for me, it's for all of us and for the people.
Thank you. Thank you for all you do.
And I would just say, I would add to that, for me, one of the challenges has been that I'm one of a few women, a few people of color, and the only Muslim. And so with that comes kind of the honor, but also responsibility of being a representative of the community, which can be difficult because people maybe don't know any other Muslims. And so what I do as a legislator and as just a regular person is informing their opinions of the community as a whole, which is a lot. But that's also why it's important that we support organizations like Emgage, so we have more Muslims representing us across levels of government across the country. And I'm really happy to be able to support an effort like this because I don't want to be the only one. I'm the first, but inshallah, I won't be the only one for long. And so I would just encourage everyone who's tuning in to support Emgage as much as you can.
Thank you so much for that shout out, and thank you for leading and serving. I know it can't be easy to be the only one or to be the first, but you're doing an incredible job, and you're breaking those glass ceilings so that others may follow in your footsteps. So I recently attended a summit where Ruth Messinger, one of our speakers, said, "We are not here to realize the end. We're here to participate and to help realize that end." Could you speak a little bit to that?
Can you repeat the question again?
Yes. So could you speak a little bit to for Muslim voters across the country who may not always see change as quickly as they may want to? Could you speak a little bit to how we're not here to realize the end, but we're here to participate?
I mean, definitely.
Absolutely, yeah.
Many people, my family is from the South, Mississippi and North Carolina. And many of, my family members and ancestors over the centuries in America have fought for just the basic right to be human in this country. And they never got to see, the results of their work. But we today, not only African Americans, but all Americans and people who come here from different countries, are the beneficiaries of all the hard work of many people and many Americans who have fought the good fight. And now we sit in the position to take the baton and to keep moving that agenda forward. So I think that's what I do, is I play my own little part. And I know, once I'm done, I'm not done. My work on this earth, when I'm called back to the Most High is done, but the work never ends. And my mission and my goal and my prayer is that I do enough so that the next generation and people come behind me can do even greater and go farther than I was able to do.
Thank you. That's powerful.
Ditto.
Thank you. That's very powerful. And with that, I'm broaching my final question to both of you, which is that being Muslim American women leaders, what is your message to young Muslim American women across the country?
my message would be in line with what we were just talking about. I think it's important that we keep our eyes on the horizon and not, get disappointed with things that aren't moving as quickly as we'd like, but also to take in the monumental, steps forward we've taken as a community, as a people. And I'm really optimistic, and so I try to spread that optimism when I meet with young sisters. And I love getting invited to the MSA meetings and things like that across the country. Because of Zoom, I've been able to do that. But I think it's really important that we, come together in community and support each other, regardless of what industry you're in. I was invited to speak with some young women on the West Coast who were in the business world, and they're dealing with similar struggles to women in politics, right? So my message would just be to be optimistic, continue to do the best that you can do, and also to lift up other sisters in the community as you do that, and try to make sure that we're all doing our part to improve for everyone.
Thank you so much. That is a very powerful message. And Judge Walker, you have the floor.
Thank you. My advice would be to do not compromise who you are and never forget who you are. And understand that you were put here on assignment. You were brought here in your skin and your body and your religion to do a specific job and a specific task, right? And it may be difficult. It's not always going to be easy, but anything worth anything is often never easy and never simple. So if you keep your eyes on the prize, you keep moving forward, look back to remember those who fought the good fight for you to be where you are today, right? And what they had to go through. No, you have everything that they have and now more, because they gave us more to continue to go on. So never give up, do the work, right? It's not going to come easy, whatever industry, whatever you in, do the work, right? So that you are respected for who you are, for what you know. And again, never compromise who you are for anyone and for anything.
That is such a powerful message from both of you. Thank you so much. And Judge Walker, one final question on the note that you just touched on. Our community has been becoming more civically engaged in the past few years. We're voting at higher rates, advocating for just policy, and fighting for our rights as Americans. What perspective do you have as a judge that puts Emgage's work into context?
I mean, as a judge, I can't, the one thing I miss about being a private citizen is just the ability to advocate, right? And fight the good fight politically and in the community. I can't necessarily do that anymore. But on the bench, what I do, as a jurist, is to be fair, to be compassionate. And I am a symbol and I represent, the system. And to have me in that position representing the system is a powerful thing. I think the work that Emgage does in supporting, people that are running for office and all different types of activities and programs that you have is key to the fabric of America. It is important. It is needed, especially in today's time. So as a jurist, it is heartwarming for me, when I can't be out there fighting a good fight, to know that there are people like you all out there doing the work, and know that in my capacity as a jurist, I'm doing all that I can to, be just, but to ensure equal justice under the law.
Thank you so much, Judge Walker Diallo. And Representative Wilson Anton, would you like to speak to that as well?
I try to jump in on the last one to go first, because I just feel like I'm echoing what she's saying. She's hitting the nail on the head. I'm really just honored to be part of this program and to be invited, and to be supported by such an amazing organization, and to try to do my best to support as well. So I'll just repeat what I said earlier. For everyone who's tuning in and watching, please make sure that you're supporting Emgage as much as you can, because the future of this country really relies on the work that this organization and other organizations do. And I'm just really grateful for that.
Well, thank you both for your incredible service and your leadership. You are truly inspiring. And thank you for participating and getting us to where we need to be in order to realize the end and our vision for the Muslim community in America. Thank you for participating and leading. And now, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. And now it's my distinct honor to introduce Congressman Andy Levin. Congressman Andy Levin is a union organizer, a human rights activist, a workforce policy expert, and green energy entrepreneur. Congressman Andy Levin has spent his career fighting for an equitable and inclusive future for all people. He's bringing that fight to Congress as the proud representative for Michigan's 9th District. Thank you, Congressman Levin, for your commitment to inclusion and equity and for being a great friend to the Muslim community. You have the floor.
Oh, Afshin, thank you so much. It's so great to be with you all. I just can't say enough about the role Emgage plays and how I just feel like it's creating so much more power in American politics for our Muslim communities. We create power by organizing. We create power by coming together, by putting in our sweat equity, our shoe leather, our dollars, everything to stand up for our rights. And Emgage is just doing an amazing job. And I just want to tell you all, I know this is a national thing, but I'm going to start very local. When a Bangladeshi mosque in Warren, Michigan is attacked, I'm going to be there with you. When people are trying to build a new masjid in Sterling Heights, Michigan, I'm going to be there with you. When any of my 3 Muslim colleagues in Congress are attacked, even hatefully, I will stand up for them vocally. When my sister Ilhan and Jan Schakowsky proposed legislation to have a special envoy for Islamophobia, I won't just stand up for it, but when people make ridiculous distinctions between that and our really important anti-Semitism special envoy, I will call those out and speak up for it. When the rights of people in Kashmir are undermined, I'll speak up. When the rights of Muslims in India are undermined, I will speak up. Not to mention when there's genocide in Burma or in Xinjiang in China, we all have to fight for human rights for everybody. And even as a Jewish member of Congress, I will continue to be, I guess, the most vocal among us in saying that Palestinians deserve and must have their full human and political rights, regardless of the political cost. That's what's true, and that's what needs to happen. And it's just such an honor to partner with Emgage in all these things, from the most global to the most local. The 9th District in Michigan has an unbelievably rich mosaic of all kinds of people, but especially of Muslims. And it's just an honor to partner with you in our struggle for justice. And I just say, march on, Emgage. Something like what happened today with Joe Manchin saying he's done, he's going back on his word and he's done working for Build Back Better. You know what? It just proves that our fight isn't just a bunch of Congress people talking politely to each other, or even the President of the United States talking politely to senators. Our fight is in the streets, it's marching, it's on social media, it's doing everything to say that families deserve affordable childcare and every kid should have pre-K. And let's let people pay $35 a month for insulin. $1,000 a month is obscene and outrageous. And so I really am so glad to partner with you because you're organizing in a way that can build power across all progressive movements. And that's just what the doctor ordered. Thanks, Afshin. Godspeed, everybody.
Thank you, Congressman Levin. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Aisha.
Yes, thank you. And thank you so much, Congressman Levin. When you speak up, it doesn't go unnoticed. I just saw on your Instagram how you spoke up on the House floor in support of Representative Omar's legislation to create a special envoy and address anti-Muslim hate. Your work doesn't go unnoticed, and we're proud to work alongside with you. Next, Michigan has been quite the highlight, and of course, we'd love to welcome few words from one of the fiercest in the game, our Congresswoman, Rashida Tlaib, 13 districts strong. Man, some of these words are tongue twisters, but here it is.
Assalamu alaikum, Emgage family. It's Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib. Thank you so much for allowing me to share space with all of you, although virtually, and also congratulate you on the important work that you've done this past year. I also want a big shout out to my Emgage Michigan family, who have been so incredibly important to getting people like myself and others elected here and making history for the nation. Thank you and congratulations. Thank you for also believing in the direct human contact and also being able to engage people at a different level, not only on election day, but throughout the year. And so I can't thank you all enough for your important work and for being able to curate a space where Muslims, again, are representative at all levels of government and also appointed in positions that I think are important, especially for our lived experiences. You know, we not only want these agencies and these levels of government to look differently, but we also want them to talk differently and to speak to us in a way that I think makes meaningful change for our lives and for the future of our children. So I can't thank you enough, and just know that I will always, always be a partner in the United States Congress. And again, Alf Mabruk, congratulations, and Assalamu alaikum.
It's electric each time, and we had such a great time with Hashim Sayed earlier this program. I want to invite him back because we just haven't had enough. Hashim, welcome.
Thanks so much, Aisha.
You're so welcome. If I had to be louder, I can do that too.
Thanks, Aisha. Please join me in welcoming our next speaker, Representative Andre Carson, who has, in his time in Congress, from championing the No Ban Act, meant to rescind the Muslim ban, to uplifting Muslim American priorities in Congress. Representative Carson is also the second Muslim ever elected to Congress, and he has always stood by our side. From supporting investments for new technologies to reduce American dependence on fossil fuels, healthcare reform legislation to increase access to medical care for millions of uninsured Americans. He has supported so many bills meant to protect international human rights and religious freedoms. So we really want to thank you for your partnership all these years, and we have a special message from him for the Muslim community right now. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. This is Congressman Andre Carson. I want to congratulate Emgage on 15 years of Muslim American civic engagement. It's a tremendous milestone. You know, in that time, you've helped countless Muslim Americans become more connected to our democracy and helped elect amazing Muslim public servants up and down the ballot. You've helped turn our community into a powerful voting bloc that refuses to be taken for granted, ignored, or scapegoated by anybody. That's certainly something to celebrate. You know, despite these successes, I believe our greatest challenges lie ahead. You know, 2022 will be a critical election year with a lot at stake. That's why it will be more important than ever for Muslim Americans to remain engaged, hold the line, and of course, vote. I have no doubt that Emgage will be helping to lead those efforts next year and into the future. Once again, congratulations on 15 amazing years and for many to come. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.
Isn't he the best? I'm a little biased because I'm a fellow Hoosier from Indiana, but man, talk about a hometown hero. Next, I'd like to welcome another member of our all-star policy team, Hannah Dasu, to take us to the next part of the program. Hannah, welcome.
Thank you so much, Aisha. Hi, my name is Hannah Dasu, and as Aisha mentioned, I'm a policy analyst here at Emgage. As a proud Marylander, I'm happy to share a message from Senator Chris Van Hollen. Senator Van Hollen has been an exceptional ally to the Muslim American community, advocating on our behalf to end discriminatory policies aimed at our community, fight back against the Chinese government's ongoing persecution of Uyghurs, and has even co-sponsored a bill recognizing July as Muslim American Heritage Month. Senator Van Hollen was also one of the first elected officials to pressure the Department of Homeland Security to release visa ban information during the Trump administration's implementation of the Muslim ban. And he also introduced the Senate version of the No Ban Act back in 2019. As a tenacious advocate for Maryland, he has worked tirelessly to promote environmentally friendly, educational, and community development initiatives in the state. Senator Van Hollen works hard to resolve difficult problems across the country with common sense solutions. As a ranking member of the House Budget Committee, he has protected vital interests like Social Security and Medicare, and as a member of the Foreign Relations Committee, has co-sponsored the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act. So without further ado, here is a message from Senator Van Hollen celebrating Emgage's 15th anniversary.
Hi, I'm Chris Van Hollen, and I'm proud to represent the great state of Maryland in the United States Senate. And I'm especially pleased to be joining all of you to celebrate Emgage's 15th anniversary. For those many years, the entire Emgage family has been advancing the vital mission of educating, engaging, and empowering Muslim Americans across the country to strengthen our communities and nurture our democracy. I'm especially proud of Emgage's leadership during the 2020 election, which saw an historic turnout, which in no small part flowed from the work of this organization. In particular, Emgage's Million Muslim Voices campaign not only helped mobilize over 1 million Muslims to vote in the 2020 general election, it also helped amplify the importance of civic engagement more broadly to communities across Maryland and across the nation. Elections matter, and one of the first actions taken by President Biden was to overturn the malicious Muslim ban. That campaign has built real momentum for growing engagement in our democracy. But it's also important that each of us does everything in our power to encourage as many people as we can to show up to the ballot box each and every election. Voting is, in and of itself, an important act that no one should take for granted. But voting is also the best possible way to make our voices heard and to help steer the course of our nation. And that charge is more important than ever as we work urgently to tackle some of the most pressing issues facing our communities. One of those issues that we must tackle head on is the continued spread of hatred and prejudice, including discrimination against members of the Muslim community. We must root out hate wherever it rears its ugly head. And I was proud to have partnered with Emgage and other community organizations to push for the passage of the No Hate Act, and was pleased to see that elements of that bill were included in the broader COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act, which I worked on with colleagues to pass through the Senate in April, and which was signed into law in May. But we cannot let up in our fight against discrimination and hate. I will continue to work with colleagues in Congress, with Emgage, and other community partners to stand up against violence, prejudice, and bigotry, whether it be aimed at the Muslim community or any community that has been targeted on the basis of race, religion, class, background, or other things. We have a long fight still ahead. We need only reflect on the outrageous treatment of Dilawar Syed's SBA nomination to see that. But I'm also confident that together we will succeed and build a more perfect union. It's in that spirit of collaboration and partnership that I'd like to end where I began, by congratulating Emgage on 15 years of service to our communities, and I'm wishing everyone a successful gala and celebration and many more years of good work ahead. Take care.
Oh, Hannah, you're stealing the screen from me. Give it back, please. Yeah, oh, we share at Emgage. We're good friends, we're family. Anyways, thank you so much to the senator. Please, when he talks about the right to vote and amplifying our voting rights, I'm the deputy organizing director. My job is to turn out the vote. So I'm a little biased, but very important, very good stuff. Anyways, without further ado, I'd love to turn it over to one of the fresh new forces on the Emgage board, Ms. Saman Ahmed.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you so much, Aisha, for the introduction. I have the wonderful pleasure of actually introducing my Congressman Jamie Raskin, who represents the 8th District of Maryland. If you talk to anyone in the district and you tell them about Congressman Raskin, they're not going to know who you're talking about. But when you say Jamie, they're automatically, oh, he is one of the most sincerest public servants that is really committed to the idea of seriousness of purpose for a life committed to public service. And that really emanates in a district there. I think it's a well-known fact that over 30,000 people have his cell phone number. Because if you ever want to talk to Jamie, he makes himself readily available. He is a politician, a constitutional law scholar, professor, and author. Nationally, he's more prominently known as the lead impeachment manager for Donald Trump's second impeachment trial before the Senate. And now he is gearing up for a book release on January 4th, 2022, which really details a personal narrative of the unbelievable year that has been Congressman Raskin has gone through, dealing everything from personal loss to the insurrection days later, and then to go on to, the win for President Biden, the impeachment, everything. But I do not want to keep you from Congressman Raskin, so I'm going to turn it over to him because so excited to have you here, sir.
Samant, thank you for that beautiful introduction. That means a lot to me. I'm delighted to be with everybody at Emgage. I'm psyched to be able to wish you a happy 15th birthday as an organization. And I know how much work and blood and sweat and tears has gone into building Emgage up into a really serious force. Of course, in the history of the Republic, 15 years isn't much, but you guys have already made a really significant impact in terms of political organizing in the Muslim American community and changing people's stereotypes and bigoted assumptions that they have about the Muslim community. America is defined not by virtue of being one religion or one race or one ethnicity or one nationality, one political party or one political ideology, but we've got one constitution. And we have to unify around our constitutional values, make our Constitution as strong as possible. That's, of course, why January 6th was such a nightmare, because what we saw was a political party and a political leader positioning themselves outside the constitutional order and attacking the whole constitutional system. And those of you who've been active with Emgage understand that the attack on January 6th didn't come out of nowhere. The Trump administration began with its hateful Muslim ban, which is a complete capsizing of everything we believe under our Constitution in terms of equal protection for everybody, religious free exercise for everybody, no establishment of particular religions, due process for everybody, and the idea that Tom Paine expressed back at the beginning of the country, which is that America would become an asylum to humanity, fleeing from political, religious, and economic repression from all over the world. An asylum to humanity, Tom Paine said, not an insane asylum, mind you, but an asylum to humanity, a place that would open its arms to the rest of the world. And so it began in a very dark way, and then it continued to serve authoritarian, dictatorial, and racist, Islamophobic, anti-Semitic values for many years. And it's lasted right up until, well, at least yesterday, when Donald Trump expressed more hateful anti-Semitic ideas, that Jews are a monolithic community that feel one thing, and that Jews are all motivated and inspired simply out of Israel, and Jews don't understand Israel the way that the fundamentalist Christian community does, and on and on. I mean, it was a real salad bowl of stereotypes and hateful generalizations that he made. And sometimes it's targeted at the Black community, and sometimes at the Muslim community, and sometimes at the Jewish community, and sometimes at women. We know that anybody can come within the kaleidoscopic fury of Donald Trump and the movement, which now serves him like a religious cult. So we've got to stick together, and we've got to hang tough. And that's why I love the spirit of Emgage. It is all about defending everybody's civil rights and everybody's civil liberties in America. And as the chair of the Subcommittee on Civil Rights and Civil Liberties for the Oversight Committee, with my friend Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez as the vice chair, with Rashida Tlaib on it, with Ayanna Pressley on it, we have really been aggressively combating that kind of racism and hatred, especially as it begins to infiltrate law enforcement, the military, and other official institutions of society. But we also have to go beyond even that to stand up for human rights around the world. I'm delighted that I'm a co-sponsor of the legislation to have a special envoy on Islamophobia. And we have been battling hard with the Republicans, both in the Rules Committee and on the floor, to stand up for the essential importance of that idea. And they are resisting it because so many of them do continue to propound the completely flawed belief that somehow America is officially a Christian government, which it is not. And you can read our Constitution, you can read our Declaration. There's nothing like that in there. I mean, our Constitution was created by Enlightenment liberals who were rebelling against centuries of religious warfare between the Catholics and the Protestants, every bit as vicious as the warfare taking place in certain parts of the world between the Sunni and the Shia today. And it was a rebellion against the Holy Inquisition and the Holy Crusades and witchcraft trials, and the whole idea that the purpose of governments is to coerce people into particular religious beliefs. And that's completely wrong. And so we are not an officially anything country in terms of a particular religious doctrine. We're a country that is trying to promote freedom of religious worship and exercise for everybody, equal protection for everybody, and freedom of thought and reason in public places. That is the Enlightenment Project. So I want to thank you guys for understanding that and being part of it. I'll never forget when I started in the Maryland State Senate and someone came up to me and said, will you join this resolution that we have to declare that Maryland is not under the rule of Sharia law and is not an Islamic state? And I said, you know what, we don't need that because we've already stated that in the First Amendment. It's the First Amendment which says there's no establishment of any religion, whether it's Islam, Christianity, Judaism, Seventh-day Adventist, Hare Krishna, or whatever. We have a free marketplace of religious ideas, and we don't allow any particular group to get into power and to dictate to anyone else. And that is an idea we must really stick to and cherish at home because it's so much under threat all over the world. And we see that with the Chinese government's persecution of the Uyghurs. We see it by the Pakistani government's persecution of the Ahmadi Muslims in Pakistan. We see it with the persecution of any group. And the tables can turn where a group can be the victims in one society and the perpetrators in another society. And that vindicates the essential wisdom of what the framers of the American Constitution were talking about. If you want to protect religious freedom, you don't allow government to dictate to anyone what they're going to believe, how they're going to worship, or the political or social or institutional power of particular religious groups. We leave that to individuals to pray for themselves, to associate as they wish, to let them do that free of government harassment, but also making sure they don't get government power and harass other people and persecute them in the pursuit of their religious ideas or their secular ideas, whatever it might be. So in any event, I love working with Emgage. Thank you for hanging tough for civil rights and civil liberties in America and for fighting for our constitutional values. And thank you for hanging tough for human rights and equal rights all over the world. And I will yield back to you. And thank you very much for this invitation.
Wow, Team Maryland got me really hyped, coming in strong. Thank you so much, Congressman Raskin. Leaving me speechless here. Thank you so much. But I'm not going to be speechless tonight. I'm your MC. It's my one job. You know what also gets me hyped is the question, what do you do at Emgage? What's a typical day look like for you? I don't even know, because 1 week is always changing from the next. Do I have the opportunity today to get the chance to train and educate in a youth workshop? Am I meeting with a candidate to talk about strategy and where we're moving on to get to GOTV? Do I get the chance to go to Capitol Hill and meet with my representatives and walk these halls that weren't built with us in mind? You know, I could be out on Saturday canvassing in sweats, and I'll be right back on Monday suited up with my team. You guys know Emgage shows up. You guys know Emgage shows up. I mean, did you guys see my yellow? But yeah, I mean, really, truly, every day is a new opportunity. We get to train with the latest and greatest of tools. We're changing it with every single cycle. And that's what I love about Emgage, is because it really is reflective of our community. Everyone has a different role to play, and everyone has a different piece of this great American Muslim puzzle that we're building together, but a puzzle that's really beautiful. I'm trying to use a metaphor that's not just our typical soup or pot or, you know, the fabric. So we're going with puzzle tonight. Emgage is building the next great American Muslim puzzle. Anyways, I'd love to share next our young and fierce Deputy Director from Texas, Amatullah Contractor. She could join us from Texas and share what's going on, and welcome our next speaker.
Good evening, everyone, and happy holidays. My name is Amatullah Contractor, and I'm the Deputy Executive Director of the Texas chapter. I'm especially proud to introduce our next speaker because not only is she a member of the Texas congressional delegation, but she's also my representative, and a phenomenal one at that. Congresswoman Fletcher represents Texas' 7th Congressional District, which covers the greater Houston area. She serves on the House Committee on Energy and Commerce and on the House Science, Space, and Technology Committee. Please welcome Congresswoman Fletcher.
Thank you so much, Amatullah, for that kind introduction. I am so honored and proud to represent you, and I'm glad to be with all of you this evening. I'm just so pleased to join for this celebration of Emgage's 15th year anniversary of Muslim civic engagement. And I'm so proud to represent so many Muslim Americans in Houston in the United States Congress. I know that some of them are with us here tonight because we talked before the program, and I'm really honored to be invited to speak on behalf of our Houston community tonight. Here in Houston, we celebrate our diversity. This is a city where 1 in 4 people is foreign born. And we know the richness and importance of embracing and engaging with one another, welcoming different experiences, different beliefs, different faiths, different priorities, and bringing everyone together. And what Emgage does to encourage civic participation, engagement, and advocacy is really vital to ensuring that the voices of the nearly 250,000 Muslim Americans here in this community and those of Muslims across the country are heard and are understood. This has been a very challenging time in our country as we respond to the COVID-19 pandemic and to the epidemic of intolerance and hate, including increased Islamophobia. The views that we have heard and seen expressed so boldly and so hatefully are certainly not the values of our diverse and dynamic Houston community or of our Congress. And I'm so glad to be with so many of my colleagues from the Congress tonight who have spoken ahead of me. I always love listening to Congressman Jamie Raskin talk about the Constitution, and I'm so grateful for his leadership, as well as my other colleagues working to make sure that we live up to the promise of our Constitution and to our own highest ideals. We have to work together to combat Islamophobia, and that happens when we are connected to one another and when we're engaged with one another. And that's why I've been so glad to partner with Emgage's Texas chapter in empowering, educated, and ensuring access to the ballot box here in Texas. That work is critical, especially here on the ground in Texas. And the work that you do across the country is essential for our democracy. And it is essential right now. So it's with that in mind that I'm really glad to have the opportunity to thank you tonight for your work over the last 15 years, for the work that you are doing today, and for the work that I know you will be doing tomorrow. I will be there to work with you, and I am so glad to continue our work together into the future. I just want you to know how much your work matters. It makes a tremendous difference, And Amatullah has worked with me for a long time as we have built an incredible coalition across our community. And I know that's exactly what we all need to do across the country on these issues and so much more. And when we do that, I know that together we can accomplish anything. So thank you so much for the opportunity to be with you tonight, and congratulations on 15 years.
Thank you so much, Team Texas. Thank you so much, Representative Fletcher. Really appreciate you coming to join with us and celebrate 15 years. All right, without further ado, our next guest speaker, well, our moderator, I don't know if I see him often enough. Just kidding. He is our National Organizing Director. We are the duo behind our organizing work. The man, the myth, the legend, the one with all the super snazzy suits, Mohammed Gula, welcome.
Hey, Assalamu alaikum. Dang, Aisha, man, showing me up today. I normally have my suit on, but I was like, all right, Aisha's not gonna come correct, so I should be good. But I should have known better. Well, thank you again, Aisha. You've done such an amazing job. Thank you for your dedication and always uplifting our team and really the rest of the nation. I mean, I feel like everybody feels you're newest from here. So Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Peace and blessings. It's been so inspiring to hear from everyone that has really spoken. And I'll also add that often as a minority group, we get so excited and invest in candidates and elected officials who look like us, who sound like us, and share our life experiences. That often we kind of forget the role and can kind of take for granted the role that our allies play in uplifting our narrative and the importance of investing in allies like Representative Lizzie Fletcher, like Andy Levin, like Andy Kim, Jamie Raskin, like Judy Chu. And in the case of Virginia, representatives like Delegate Kay Corey, who has spent her career really fighting for the most vulnerable and supporting legislation focusing on education reform, the expansion of Medicaid, and really has been our champion on passing important hate crime legislation. So without further ado, our delegate from the 38th District in Virginia, Delegate Kay Corey.
Thank you. Thank you. I unmuted. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that flattering introduction. And I do have to say, first off, that I am so proud to be in such impressive company tonight. The number of legislators, of public figures that you have invited and are excited to be with you tonight is very, very impressive. And I thank you for including me in that. Emgage has been a partner of mine for years in working to support diversity and to fight hate crimes the way that we have in Virginia. And I have been so proud to be able to work with you. The district that I represent in Virginia is one of the most diverse districts in the whole country. And it's very exciting to be a part of that and to watch the change. But tonight I am here to congratulate Emgage and to say that you all have made such a difference. I am not the speaker that Jamie is. I'm jealous of Jamie. I wish that I could channel his speaking ability, but all I can do is say whatever he says, I agree with. And that means that I think that your role, your history, what you've accomplished, Emgage, and more importantly, what you're going to accomplish is crucial. Your voice is exactly what we need in this country now and what we need in Virginia. I think we have seen what lack of knowledge of civic engagement and civic process shows, what it does. And that's the situation we're in this country. And frankly, I think in our Commonwealth at this time, which means that you cannot rest. You have to fight even harder to have your voice heard. And I, of course, will do everything that I can think of, but more importantly, I need you to tell me what you would like me to do on your behalf. You can't count on me to think of everything. But tonight I'm here to congratulate you on your anniversary and to just read a very small part of the resolution that the General Assembly of Virginia passed to honor you and your civic action. So let me just say that whereas Emgage is a nonprofit organization and has helped Muslim Americans throughout the Commonwealth in the United States learn how civic awareness, engagement, and advocacy can strengthen their communities and make important changes. Emgage helps Muslim Americans engage with elected officials by raising their awareness on key issues and giving them the tools to bring about change. During the 2020 United States presidential election, Emgage launched a nonpartisan Get Out the Vote campaign that ultimately helped mobilize an historic turnout of more than 1 million Muslim American voters. And Emgage has helped Muslim Americans ensure that their experiences and their contributions are recognized and that their communities are well represented at the local, state, and national levels. Therefore, the General Assembly of Virginia is very proud to commend you for your actions, what you've done, what you're planning, and what you will do. I personally have to say that I have not seen any other community-based or national organization as effective as yours. We need you to spread your wings. We need you to be in more than 7 states. So whatever I can do to promote your expansion, please let me know. And again, I thank you for your support of my efforts to stay in office and to work even harder than we have before for equity, recognition of diversity, and diminishment of hate crimes. So thank you, and have a great evening. You deserve it.
Thank you so much, Delegate Kay Corey. As always, I'm humbled and really look forward to continuing to build and to defend all that we've kind of built together. So thank you.
Thank you. We have a lot to do. And with that, I will let you continue with your celebration and turn off my camera. Okay. Good night and thanks again.
Wow, exciting. Good job, Emgage Virginia. Our chapters are coming in strong tonight. They came to show up at the 15th anniversary gala. I'm so proud of you guys. Really. One more time. All right, we're going to continue right along with our visionary board member, Khurram Wahed. Love to welcome you on and take us into the next part of the program. Joining us from Florida, by the way. So we've got the whole nation covered tonight.
We do. Thank you, Aisha. You guys are doing a great job. Very proud of the work that our staff does, Aisha, Gula, the whole team. And that is really one of the big, for me, one of the big accomplishments of Emgage is that we've attracted such great people who've committed to make careers for you, the community, to be able to do this type of work. And the work we're doing here, hopefully, inshallah, will benefit not just you, but your children and your children's children. This organization, it started back in 2006, actually, as a political action committee. And our first person that we supported was someone who was a lawyer who grew up in Detroit and was running for Congress in Minnesota. and not too many people had heard of him. I really hadn't, and I had a brief conversation with him, and he told me, a little bit about himself. And I said, you know what, I would love for you to come down to Florida, and and let me raise you some money to make sure we can get you over the hump. And that person is my good friend, Congressman Keith Ellison. And so with that, I'd like to introduce currently Attorney General of Minnesota, Keith Ellison.
Hey, how's it going? Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Good to see everyone.
Great to have you here. Good to see you again. I was just telling the folks that we first met both when Emgage started and your career started in the spotlight back in 2006.
Yeah, it's been a while since then, huh?
Yeah, and we've grown together, I think, over the years.
Absolutely true. I tell you this, I think it's important to reflect a little bit on where we've been. I think in 2006, the Muslim community all over the country was disjointed, not nearly as unified as it is now. It was in a defensive crouch only a few years after 9/11. It was a community that was fearful in many ways. And in so many ways, the Muslim community has matured, has grown, has gotten more confident, has really taken its seat at the table of civil rights for the whole nation, and sits alongside folks who've been fighting for racial justice, immigration justice, women's rights, and many, many other things as well. And it's been, in my view, an outstanding move. And Emgage has been right there leading the way, filling out in a critical niche in terms of political engagement, having a voice in the halls of power like Congress and other places. And so it's important for us to review that tonight. What do you think?
Well, I would agree with you, of course. Look, I think that what's important is that we've been able to do some stuff like help folks like you and other really important voices be able to represent the Muslim American community, but other communities as well who need a voice. I think that I love the fact that Emgage and our staff and our community also help champion the cause of other communities who need it. Whether it's the Latino community, the African American community, fighting for rights at the border, or whatever it is. And you were a part of that for many years. What are your thoughts on all of those efforts that we've been working on with you?
Well, I'm so proud. Emgage has been at the forefront of fighting anti-Asian American hate. When you saw, the Trump make very, very ugly comments regarding the Chinese flu and all this. I don't even want to repeat it. And then as a result, all that needed to inspire some haters was Trump's rhetoric, and they did act accordingly. Emgage was at the front of that, because the thing about Emgage is that Emgage, as a Muslim organization, engages every aspect of the tapestry of America. People from South Asia, East Asia, Africa, people from Europe and Latin America. So if it's happening to Americans, it's happening to Emgage. And Emgage helps lead the way, galvanize, and draw people together. I'm also really impressed that Emgage is not only a civil rights group, it is a civil rights group that is mobilizing people for power. Because, you can't just, sit around and hope for the best. You've got to actually mobilize people, get friends in office who share your values. Emgage has been leading the way on that and inspired a lot of people. And, there's a lot of bright future ahead of us. I believe that, inshallah.
Where do you see the community going next in the next few years?
Well, let me tell you, when I started in Congress, when Emgage got me elected back in 2006, I was the first person who was Muslim to be in Congress. Now I'm not even in Congress anymore. And there are 3 Muslims in Congress. Most of them are women, 2 out of the 3. Andre is on the Intelligence Committee, one of the most powerful. Ilhan and Rashida are on critical committees, making sure that very important things are happening. And so, the future is bright. I expect you're going to see more people getting involved. You're going to see the first Muslim senator. I don't know who it will be, but I'm confident that it will be. And you're going to see Muslims running for things like attorney general and governor. I mean, when I got elected to attorney general, I'm not aware of any Muslim who won a statewide seat, but there's so many talented ones coming along that it won't be long before somebody does it. Somebody gets into the governor's office. My good friend in Michigan, Doctor, the doctor, the public health expert who ran for.
Yeah,
That's right. Ran very well in that Michigan race, and I wouldn't be surprised if somebody cracks that code in the near future. But as I'll say for the I'll give this warning to the Muslim community. America, our country, doesn't need another self-interested ethnic group, or another collection of people who are only worried about how to increase power for themselves. What America needs is people and organizations concerned about the public interest, concerned about the rule of law, concerned about fairness for everyone. That's what we really need. And so my prayer for the Muslim community is, as we get more successful, and I'm sure we will, to never forget that we are a community who has known discrimination, who has known what it means to be treated with a lack of fairness. In the very DNA of every Muslim, we share this idea of immigration, right? I mean, the very fact is the early Muslim Sahaba had to leave their home in the Arabian Peninsula and run to Africa to get protection there. And we, as Muslim Americans, should always be about standing with the refugee, standing with the person in crisis, standing with people who had to flee tyranny, as the early Sahaba had to do. And so these are our core values. We should always stand by them. And no matter how successful we ever get, never, ever forget that. You notice one thing about a lot of the Jewish groups, as they have, fought virulently against anti-Semitism, some of them have enjoyed a situation where, historically things were not as ugly and as bad. That did not stop their work. Highest, for example, out there standing up for refugees, other groups, doing still relief work. Now we know about some of the more recent episodes of attacks on synagogues, and we stand in solidarity with our friends who are facing that terror and that hate. But I guess my point is only this: even though Muslims are dealing with a lot of tough things and have over the last 20, 30 years, our success as we begin to experience it should not make our fervor and our passion for justice wane. In fact, as we're doing better, we should get more intense around a fairer, more just, more green America.
agreed. I want to thank you so much for taking the time today, and our long history together, inshallah, will continue forward. And we really do look to you for guidance as a community. And so even though you're over there in sunny Minnesota, just
He's funny.
every once in a while try to get out and enjoy some of the other states where your community and your followers want to see you.
Well, look, I got to tell you though, Kerem, I see a good friend of mine, Judy Chu, on the line there.
She's
good to see you.
Next.
Good to see you, Judy. You holding it down over there in Washington?
Yeah, she'll be on next, Keith. So
all right. Well, you got to give me a chance to greet my friend. Anyway,
great to see you, Keith.
You bet. All right. See y'all later now.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Coram. Thank you so much, Attorney General Ellison. And thank you for reminding us again of our need to recommit to this work. It's only fitting that we're having our gala at the end of 2021 before we embark on 2022, because this is the time to reflect on what has brought us here to this moment and how we can move forward again with new opportunities. And of course, it's only fitting that after so many trailblazing voices, we're continuing with another unapologetic energy. That is Congresswoman Judy Chu. Thank you so much. You have been such a strong pillar and ally to our community, spearheading efforts on the No Ban Act fearlessly. We are so excited to turn it over next to you.
Well, thank you so much. I'm so thrilled to be with Emgage to celebrate 15 years of advocacy and engagement on behalf of the Muslim American community. In these past 15 years, you've helped to achieve so much, from your early days of organizing at the local level to the national voice you've become today, hosting presidential forums and mobilizing more Muslim voters than ever before. And I've been so proud to be your partner. That's why I've made it a priority of mine in Congress to stand up to bigotry and Islamophobia. And thanks to Emgage, we've been able to have a real impact. We saw that on day one of President Biden's administration when he took immediate action to repeal the hateful Muslim ban. But even though President Biden's executive order put an end to this ban, which kept loved ones apart cruelly and needlessly for years, we also need to make sure no other president can enact a similar ban in the future. That's why I introduced my No Ban Act. The bill ensures that no future president could unilaterally ban an entire group just because of their religion. And I'm so proud that this April, the House did pass once again the No Ban Act, making it the first Muslim civil rights bill to pass out of the House in the history of Congress. The Muslim ban wasn't just cruel for the way it divided families. It was dangerous in the way it promoted fear and of Muslims, and therefore more violence against the community. And we must stop hatred in any form against any group, against those of any religion. That's why earlier this year, I joined with Representative Don Beyer and others to introduce the bipartisan No Hate Act, which was folded into the COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act, which provides local law enforcement with resources, training, and greater prosecutorial power to improve our dealings with hate crimes. The need for this bill was so clear that it passed the House and the Senate on a bipartisan basis, and I will never forget standing behind President Biden in the White House as he signed it into law. We also need to stop the hate speech from the highest levels of government that inspires these actions. And I want to talk now about the outrageous situation that Delaware Syed is facing. For months now, Senate Republicans on the Small Business Committee have refused to even show up to work, all because President Biden nominated Delaware Syed, a Muslim American, to be the next deputy administrator of the Small Business Administration. And in fact, this would make him the highest ranking Muslim American in the administration. And despite support from everyone, from the Chamber of Commerce to Jewish organizations, these Republicans are claiming that his religion and his involvement with Emgage are disqualifying. So they would rather not show up to their jobs than let a qualified Muslim man do his. That is so blatantly Islamophobic. We've done what we can in terms of calling out these senators for letting their bigotry get in the way of our country's needs. It is also why I was so outraged by the slurs directed at my colleague, Representative Ilhan Omar, earlier this year by Representative Lauren Boebert. Her insults were beyond shocking. Not only did we hear a member of Congress repeatedly spread hateful lies, but she did it knowing the terrible harm that can come from it, including death threats. So that's why I joined my colleague, Representative Ayanna Pressley, on her bill calling for Representative Boebert to be removed from her committee assignments. If Representative Boebert chooses to spend her time threatening the safety of a colleague because of her religion, it should not be from the privileged perch of a congressional committee. What's even more frightening is that we are seeing anti-Muslim hate speech spreading around the world, leading to more violence and repression. We've seen innocent Muslims attacked, mosques vandalized, and rights curtailed, all preceded by Islamophobic rhetoric that spreads fear of Muslims. That's why just last week, I was a proud co-sponsor of the bill introduced by Representatives Omar and also Jan Schakowsky that would create a new office to monitor and combat international Islamophobia. Thankfully, the bill did pass out of the House. Well, I'm so grateful to have an organization like Emgage Action that continues to mobilize and engage Muslim voters. It's thanks to your hard work that we have more voices in our government to speak up for Muslims and against hate. And it's because of your work that we can create a more equal and thriving society for all of us. Congratulations again on 15 years of incredible work.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, Congresswoman Chu. I hope you consider us as friends and family. We'd be happy to answer your call to service anytime. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
All right, well, I promised you guys more celebrations, and to help us in this next portion of the program, Wael El-Zayat, I'd like to welcome you back. I saved some confetti for you. Take it away.
Thanks you, Aisha. Thank you so much for being such a great and energetic MC for tonight's event. You were the unanimous choice by everyone to do this, and I think we chose wisely. All right, this is now such a special time for all of us here at Emgage, because this is the moment we give thanks. We give thanks to our team members, our board members, our local committee members from the states you guys heard about, and also our supporters, our patrons. First, I had the honor to give the unanimous vote of the Employee of the Year by secret ballot of all of our staff and board members. This year's award goes to my deputy and our legislative director, Iman Awad. I know you don't hear the clapping, but it's there. Iman has been a rock in our organization, really. She was one of the first hires that I made at Emgage when I joined 5 years ago. And not only has she worked to develop and grow a very professional legislative and policy arm of Emgage, but she has been a true friend and ally to our staff, to our volunteers, and our many, many of our partners. Often after hours, she does it with poise and grace. And really, as CEO of Emgage, I could not do this work without her. So please join me in congratulating Iman Awad for being the Employee of the Year at Emgage.
Woohoo! I'm celebrating in the background. Go, Iman!
Now, for the Emgage Ambassador Award, you see, Emgage have chapters, as you heard. We have staff. We also have local committee members who are patrons, who are mentors, and who provide support and advocacy for our mission. These ambassadors are so essential for what we do. And this year's top vote getters were Sister Afshin Shamsi of New Jersey and Dr. Muzammil Ahmed of Michigan. Now, many of you saw Afshin earlier, really, despite the fact that she is relatively a newcomer to the Emgage family, she has done so much to help educate and mobilize our community in New Jersey. And Dr. Muzammil Ahmed has been a long-term supporter of Emgage and advocate on the ground in the great state of Michigan. A lot of the victories and successes that you see today are really the products of a lot of hard work by the likes of Dr. Muzammil Ahmed. So thank you both, Muzammil and Afshin, and congratulations on being the Emgage Ambassadors of the Year. Moving on to our board member of the year. Emgage has a national board of directors, and this year's winner is somebody who I got to know from the very first moment I joined the Emgage team, Dr. Iltifat Hamzawi, the board chair of Emgage, and I think within the Muslim community, a well-known advocate, supporter, philanthropist, mentor, strategist, and also board member of other organizations that he has seen to success. I personally count him as a mentor and as a thought partner, and many of our board members and staff look up to him for his wise and very patient counsel. I may bring the fire to the organization, but Dr. Hamzawi brings a lot of the thoughtfulness and quiet diplomacy that's necessary to make this work possible. Dr. Hamzawi, thank you so much for everything that you do, and congratulations. There are the clappers. And last but not least, the Emgage Patron of the Year is someone who has been dedicated and working hard in support of this mission and of the community achieving political power. And this year's award goes to Dr. Mohsen Jaffer and his wife, Sister Fawzia. They are the founders of the Mohsen and Fawzia Jaffer Foundation, through which they have been uplifting humanity by supporting projects both in the United States and around the world. Most recently, the Jaffer family established the Mohsen and Fawzia Jaffer Foundation for Muslim World Studies at Florida International University. The Jaffer family has also been with Emgage since the beginning. Those 15 years, they've been with us every step of the way when we were just based in South Florida. Their continued support has been instrumental to our growth, not only in Florida, but now across the country. Their vision and mentorship has helped us to build one of the most diverse Muslim American organizations in the country. Doctor, congratulations. I want to extend this on behalf of the Emgage team to you and your family, and I want to give you the floor for a few minutes of remarks.
Thank you, Wael. Salutations to you all. And we celebrate in the name of that loving creator who has given us this ability to make a difference of wherever we live in this world. And he is the creator of this universe. But we came to America and we are grateful to be in this great country. But we had no representation. And 15 years ago, we met to have a fundraiser. And I was one of the hosts fundraiser for Keith Ellison. And that's when we were talking about how we don't have any representation. We are busy making our lives, but we are hardworking Americans with no representation, no participation in the politics. And that's the start of Emgage. It was called CDS in those days. And Khurram and Saif were one of the starters of that. And it's so pleasing and so heartwarming to see how this journey has prevailed and prospered and has grown to be a national organization from a little organization in South Florida. So I thank you all who have worked tirelessly to make this such a successful organization. And the beauty of this organization is also that we have transcended the narrow boundaries that we set up ourselves as an ummah because of the school of thought or petty politics, but you have risen above all of that, because this is not what our messenger would have wanted or the book would have wanted us to do. It is for goodness of mankind, it's representation, and to stand up for justice and to do good in this world. And today, I'm proud that Emgage stands up for what is wrong and applauds what is right. And I hope you continue on this journey where you continue to look out for all our fellow Americans. This country is great. It has got a great foundation. The Constitution I really admire, and it has to be obeyed and followed. And bigotry and injustice and hate has no place in a harmonious and a successful country. And you are the bastions that will stop any hate, any division, but bring Americans together for the best for all of us. And Godspeed and congratulations on this 15-year journey. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jaffer, for those words. I could not have said them any better. And for your steadfast support, as well as everyone else who has been supporting and believing in the journey and the mission that we are pursuing. With this, I want to conclude this program. I want to thank all of my staff, the amazing team that we have here. Aisha, Iman, Saif, Hamad Gula, Amara, Hannah, Hashim, who has been so instrumental in executing what I think is some of the best programming I have ever been a part of. Sometimes folks have a lot of theories about Emgage's success. Our secret sauce is right here in front of you. It's the people. It's the homegrown Muslim American talent. That's what we're doing here. We're developing indigenous Muslim American power. And with that, we look forward to an even better year next year. May Allah bless you and your families and the entire Muslim American community, as well as the United States of America. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.